A few months ago, something about the way I am filming my ugly ass face changed, and ignoring the huge zoom that I have on right now, I went from this to this. This is the Elgato Prompter, or more the Elgato universe, because we will be talking about the Deck Plus and the Deck Pedal. And usually, I am not that inclined to cover this type of streaming / filming gear. However, this thing has, or these things as in a combination, have absolutely changed how we do videos here. So for those of you who thought this is going to be another review about a 120mm fan, I am sorry. No, this video is for the people who are already in the self-filming business or are looking to step into it, be it by launching their own channel or streaming on Twitch or whatever. But before we talk about this miraculous device, let's quickly recap the clusterfuck that is the filming gear market. Once you start your endeavor and you start filming your videos, you will very quickly realize that there are two types for everything that you need. It's either really, really bad or it's really, really expensive. And that's the case for basically everything. Tripod, sliders, slides, everything fits into these two categories. Now, of course, I'm exaggerating here. Stuff has become cheaper over time. Lights are now, or good lights are now available, and you also can have sliders that do their job. And I can guarantee you will find some manufacturer that makes whatever you need for a somewhat affordable price. But let me tell you, the step up from a Newa slider to a Edelkrone slider is huge. And by huge, I mean huge. And then we get to prompters. That's the type of thing that you install onto your camera and where you can read your script off the lens. You know, so that you don't have to look wherever you have hidden your laptop, or God forbid you print it out, you memorize it, and then you have to say it very, very quickly, because otherwise you will forget it and then the video will look very, very weird. To do so, they have an additional piece of glass built in where the text is reflected and not visible to the camera because some sort of magic glass properties. And here comes my issue with these. It's two pieces of plastic and a piece of glass with two springs. For 150 euros, these things are astronomically overpriced. And it's not even the worst part, because the next upgrade step would be, or would have been in the time, a teleprompter, which is the actual name of this, with a built-in screen. Yeah, that's a bit too hefty for the start of an online career. So for these budget things, you will need to get one of these horrendous apps, and they are all horrible. And you will need to squeeze in your poor phone into that thing, and not only does it feel on every attempt like you are breaking your phone or the prompter, but because of the nowadays like outsticking cameras on your smartphone, the whole thing will end up being tilted anyway. And the cherry on top is the remote, which half the time doesn't work. It has the reach of a wooden stick, and if you press the wrong button, the phone will go back to home screen, which will then force you to get up from wherever you're filming, go to the prompter, remove the prompter from the camera, reopen the app, trick the phone into landscape mode, install it back into the prompter, hook the whole thing again to your lens, and then be really, really pissed. In case you didn't notice, budget prompters are horrible. I hate everything about them. Enter the Elgato Prompter. This thing made my life so freaking easy. Compared to other prompters, it's basically the same concept. Has its reflective glass built right in, and you will get a ton of adapters to mount that thing to your camera. Either Elgato's own thing, yeah, that exists, if that's what you're up to, or by using this adapter plate, which then replaces the one that is already on the prompter, and combined with the round rings for the camera lens, you can mount that thing to basically every camera. But there are two things that made it amazing for me. First is a freaking built-in screen. Yes, we got a 9-inch screen completely reflected in the glass. So no more hooking up your goddamn phone and hoping that you don't get a text message while recording or notifications, because I'm filming in the morning and we use Trello combined with Planyway. And I have a bunch of scripts running where I have let's say a bunch of tasks, and all of them are automatically set to appear at 9 o'clock. Like if I say, okay, I'm reviewing whatever 120mm fan, I will I will give it a flag, say we are working on this, and then it will create a whole bunch of tasks, benchmark radiators, write scripts, whatever, and it will automatically set every task on a specific day at 9 o'clock. And when I'm recording at 9 o'clock, my phone is, well, in the time my phone was connected to the prompter. At 9 o'clock, vibrate. I could just stop filming. It was horrendous. So no more hooking up my phone and hope that I don't get any notifications. And second, this thing is wide, like ultra wide. I've shown you in the intro what the difference was for my particular camera and lens combo, and that is huge. Of course, your mileage may vary, and there is a list on Elgato's website showing you a bunch of different combos, and if you will get black bars, because you will start filming the prompter from the inside. But for my camera and my lens and my settings, at 4K, no black bars. Okay, I might need to explain why that's important. On my old prompter, I needed to zoom in a lot, which meant I needed to install the camera further away from me, like a lot further, which then meant that the text I have to read of this tiny screen was so far away, it was really hard to read it at all. More mistakes happen, I have a crappy remote that doesn't work half the time, I get pissed. And now, zero zoom, the lens is at zero, and the camera is so close, I can physically touch the prompter. The text is easily readable. Okay, no, there are two more things that make me happy. You can mount this thing onto its own tripod if you really want to, but the whole thing weighs like 700 grams, so you just leave it on your camera and you're fine. And there are two cold shoe mounts on top, which I haven't used so far. I could mount my mini monitor, which is on top of my camera. However, the thing is so heavy that I kind of fear that I will like break my lens, so I will just leave it on my camera. But there are two cold shoe mounts if you want to use them. But the best thing is controlling it. This thing is powered by a simple USB-C to USB-A cable. It goes into a PC or a Mac, and from there it's all done inside the Camera Hub software. And the first thing you'll notice, this thing is actually a real screen. A kinda weird 9-inch 1024 by 600 pixel screen, but a screen over display link nonetheless. Don't quote me on this, but I believe to remember that when this thing was first launched, it was sold out everywhere, but it was basically marketed as a streaming device, a streamer device. You could pull up your Twitch or whatever chat onto your camera lens and basically read the comments whilst looking straight into the lens, it looks more interacting with the audience. It doesn't really matter if I'm right on this or not, because the Elgato Prompter can still do this. And the website still heavily emphasizes streaming as a use case, but my use case and my experience, however, is more about video recording, which works fantastically. Camera Hub has a dedicated function for that. You can set up multiple scripts, you can change the font, the size, the whatever you want, set how quickly the script scrolls around the screen, and as soon as you select the script, the display will jump into text mode and display the script you've selected, with the mouse far away without a crappy remote. Now, technically there are even more functions. You can create chapters, group by stuff, but in my experience, or because my scripts are between 1500 and 6000 words, basically a 120mm fan or a case review, I'm just quicker scrolling across them. Creating chapters just takes too much time for nothing, in my case. All of that said, and I do believe that my point that this thing has fundamentally changed how I work has already come across. Not everything is perfect. You need a PC or a Mac to run it, and the cable is 3 meters long, so you know operating it without any physical connection is impossible. Then there is the fact that the PC which is operating it needs an actual screen to work at all. I tried it and there is no way around it. You can't use the display link part of the prompter to somehow jumpstart your script and then just disconnect the main screen from the PC and have the PC be running only on the prompter. That doesn't work. And if you reconnect the screen after you've disconnected the main screen, you will basically bug out the software and your script will be displayed on the other screen for whatever reason. It will bug out heavily. So don't do that. Use a screen and just leave it there. And the way I'm using my prompter right now, I have that mini PC that Geekom sent a few months ago. It's just sitting here on the floor. And my prompter is connected to that with the screen sitting right next to it. If I want to start recording, I start the mini PC, use a mouse, use this mouse, select the script on the actual screen, and I'm ready. Really, really easy, and there is no way in hell anything could force me to go back to this with that dreadful toy remote. Oh God, it says okay on the top. It's not okay. You are not okay. But as I said in the beginning, this video is more about the Elgato filming device universe, like the Stream Deck Plus. I've used the Stream Deck before. I got one on my desk for Premiere Pro shortcuts essentially. And when Elgato said they would send me a Deck Plus alongside the prompter, I said, sure, why not? I don't really care, but sure, I should care. If you're new to these things, the Deck is basically a fancy keyboard where you can customize the button with the button background, with like custom backgrounds, and give them any function you want. Be it some random Windows function, Windows shortcut, or a one-click to world peace solution via paid extensions. And you connect one of those via USB, and from there you got the Stream Deck software. And the special part about I can actually take it here. There we go. And the special part about the Deck Plus is that there is an additional screen in the middle which displays whatever you are changing using the 4 dials underneath. A Stream Deck with rotary dials instead of all buttons. What's the fuzz? Well, the fuzz is about how well that thing integrates with the prompter, increasing the font size point by point, making the thing go faster, scroll up, down, change the brightness of the screen, all functions which are incredibly intuitive to use with a dial instead of a button. Not to forget that each dial has basically 3 ways of interaction. You can turn left, right, or click. If you, for example, want to stop the scrolling, my prompter just stopped. And fun fact, which I keep on forgetting that it exists, if you have a script which is running across the screen all the time and you're concentrating on reading it, if you stop it, your brain will make you think that it continues to scroll and you get like a weird effect. Let's maybe move on before I get all fuzzy. And how I use the whole combo, once I use the mouse to start the script, the Deck Plus takes over. I change the settings mid-video if I need to. I scroll back if I need to without turning away from the camera, because it's here on my right-hand side. I can slow down the script, I can make it brighter, make it not so bright, go up, down, increase the font size if I don't know, I have a bad day. And the top buttons are actually, well, it's dusty. And oh no. Drag more action. No. Anyway, all the buttons at the top are not useless as well in my case, because I don't want to have a keyboard lying around here as well. I need the mouse, but I don't need the keyboard. Hence, I set all the buttons to mimic the keyboard shortcuts that I need to get the scripts into the Camera Hub software. Like I have a shortcut button to my Google Drive where I have all my scripts. I have a select all button to select all the whole script, and then the mandatory copy and paste button to copy and paste into the Camera Hub software. Incredibly useful combi, drives up the price of the setup significantly, but incredibly useful. And then there is the part that you will never see on camera, the Steam Deck pedal. Now don't overthink this. It's a piece of plastic, granted it's to some degree very good quality, sturdy piece of plastic with an actual metal to make it like really, really strong. It's grippy, it's connected via USB, and you can change the springs for, you know, in case you kicked it too hard. And yes, of course, there are different spring strengths. For the people who drive stick, you can feel the difference with your foot. Now, as a concept, don't overthink it. It's a plastic enclosure where you got 3 buttons, one on the left, right, and center. And if you do the price per button calculation, this has to be one of the most expensive keyboards in the world. As I said, don't overthink it. You can do some slightly cool stuff with it. Similarly to the Deck Plus, you can add whatever function you want on any of these 3 buttons. But what's also cool is what Elgato calls a smart profile, which is a fancy way of saying that the function switches automatically based on the application that you got. Like I could say the left button is to make a screenshot when I'm in Windows, but as soon as I have Photoshop open, it's paste. To, you know, copy, paste a screenshot, or in Chrome, make a screenshot and then paste it with the same foot. Works incredibly well on paper, and I'm sure if you are one of these people who really do sit straight at their desk, this might be incredibly useful to you. You could bind one of these 3 buttons to whatever function or skill or whatever in your game and then basically add a whole new level of interaction possibility without losing any of your hands. really, really cool, doesn't work for me. When I'm gaming, when I'm relaxing, I'm sitting in every possible position, but not straight. My feet are everywhere, but not on the panel. That said, for these videos here, this thing is perfect. If you do talking head videos, or if you stream and you need to look presentable for the lens, to some degree you will always be sitting straight or in the same position and your feet will always be on that damn thing. And as you might have already guessed, I can stop the script, start the script, jump back a few lines. 3 go-to options that I use, and they allow me to fully control the flow of the script without having to reach for the Deck Plus, for example. I do reach for the Deck Plus if I really need to, like scroll down a lot, but in general I can do a whole video just by controlling the script with my feet. Oh, and before I forget it, because I'm not going to make a dedicated video review on any of this, you can also remove the springs of the central button to make it a footrest, or just don't bind any function to it and make it like a wiggling footrest. Your choice. Now overall, my filming setup, so we got the prompter in combination with the Deck Plus and the pedal. Me personally, I am so satisfied, and I don't even know right now what a good upgrade path would be from here on. Like, I don't have anything to nag about. It works perfectly fine. I'm never angry about my setup, which, how should I now know what I have to upgrade? That said, this type of setup has its limits. Everything being cable bound makes the whole thing stationary. There is not really a way to mount this to some sort of, like, let's say gimbal, or have somebody follow you around with it, unless you want to pay a third person to like carry on a laptop. So I do see why somebody like Linus Tech Tips wouldn't have much use for any of this, given they are moving quite a lot in their videos. But for myself, or people who are doing the type of content where you are sitting alone in a room, like I am sitting in the same position, babbling down my script every day, it's perfect. I would not change a thing about my setup right now. Now, I guess you got the point. I love the prompter. The Deck Plus and the pedal are great accessories, but it's mainly the prompter who's responsible for all my newly found joy in reading scripts. But what actually makes me think this is a great product, believe it or not, is the price. I told you in the beginning, budget prompters made for phones are needlessly expensive if you consider the cost of a few grams of plastic and a piece of glass. And the Elgato Prompter goes right now for 300 euros right here and now, which I get it. If you're new to this, it might seem like a hard to swallow price, but it's just not. The budget stuff, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, it's just crap. This is a piece of crap. It's made in a crappy way, controlling it sucks as hell, and good luck finding a better remote which is compatible with whatever buggy software you're trying to use. And for the next level, I just googled prompter with screen, and I'm not sure what prompter people is, but and that's the price tag without a screen. Add the screen and oh, good lord. So no, believe it or not, 300 bucks for a working prompter with a built-in screen and optional side accessories, great price point. Great price point, considering what else you can get does basically the same thing and costs just with an additional 0. I couldn't be happier with it, and that's it. And if I could personally redo my career, I would have gone for this thing here immediately. And if you're trying to start, I would even advise you to just jump over the budget prompters. Just wait until you got the budget. This is not worth it. The hassle of using this is not worth it. Wait a month, 2, 3, until you have the money that you need to go from this to this and just go straight to this. Of course, only if you're doing videos where you sit in the same spot. Otherwise, it's not really for you. And if I have a minute to just spill some advice from sitting in front of this camera for so many times, personally, the prompter is a absolutely necessary tool. The Deck Plus is good, but not necessary, and the pedal is just a convenience. So if you're starting off and you're looking for equipment to make your life easier, first the prompter, and then once you got the money, you can get the rest to make your life more convenient, but this is worth it. Now, before I end this, at some point after I got into the whole prompter from Elgato thing, they added the whole voice sync function. That thing, it became a thing. Basically, your software is listening to you and scrolling along whilst you speak. You can do that especially after you get a microphone for that. But for me, it's just annoying. I prefer to let the scroll speed decide the speed at which I'm reading and talking. It's just less decision making for me, and it seems weird to have it like jump all around. I don't know, not for me. But okay, this should be everything I have to say on the Elgato Prompter, the DAC Plus and the pedal. And at this point, a huge thank you to Elgato for sending all of this stuff over. I really gotta say, the Prompter in combination with the DAC Plus and the pedal had the most significant impact on my filming experience so far. Oh, on a side note, we have a Discord server, so if you want to join, the link is down below. And we got channel membership, so if you are planning to sell your soul for an OG poop emoji, that's one way to go. But if not, I'm also releasing the content to all members 2 or 3 weeks in advance. Except for the NDA stuff, because, you know, I don't want to get sued. Additionally, you can rest assured that the income will not only keep the channel afloat, but will also serve to create an independent award. Just for this thing alone. It deserves it. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to continue, have a look at our take on that mini PC that Geekom sent around, which since then has become the dedicated Elgato Prompter power source. Hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye.